Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to take your seats, I'd like to introduce Mayor Mitchell Brownstein to come up and do the opening and say a few words.
I'd like to thank Harvey Levine and Stephen Slimovich from B'nai Brith for organizing this and for hosting this evening, which is a very important evening. I thank you, candidates, the 4 candidates for District 7. C'est très important, le niveau politique municipal, peut-être c'est le plus important, parce que vous êtes des représentants plus proches des résidents. Et ça, c'est une opportunité pour vous d'avoir une relation très intéressante. And I hope that whoever wins enjoys that privilege, and that all of you have been taking good notes when you're going door to door of the issues of concern, and that whether you're elected or not, that you let us know what the people from District 7 have been telling you so that we can represent the people. Because that's what it's all about. Being involved, particularly in municipal politics, is a real privilege. It's an honor. It's something I've really enjoyed. And when I look at the 4 of you, my heart goes out to each of you, knowing the wonderful group of residents that one of you will soon represent. I want to give the opportunity to listen to you, and I hope that the residents here make a very good choice, and that the media reports the answers to the questions diligently and gives full coverage so that the residents of District 7 can make an excellent choice. So congratulations to each of you for wanting to do service to the public, because it's probably one of the most noble causes, one of the most noble professions that you can do. It comes with big obligations and big responsibility, and every so often you are reaffirmed by the people if you do a good job. So I wish you the best of luck, and I will pass the microphone over to Mr. Harvey Levine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bonjour, good evening, and shalom. Merci, Maire Brownstein et le Conseil municipal pour permettre à B'nai Brith Québec pour être l'hôte de l'événement ce soir. This is the first ever Meet the Candidates evening, from what I understand, for the upcoming election District 7 in our wonderful city of Côte Saint-Luc. As the oldest Jewish grassroots, independent, charitable organization in the world, B'nai Brith is an important part of the fabric of Côte Saint-Luc. With our offices here, our B'nai Brith seniors residence and soon-to-be-built second residence, the Chateau B'nai Brith, many of our members reside here as well, including me in District 7. I'd like to introduce our head table. Sydney Benizri, Mitch Kujavsky, David Torchman, and Lloyd Pettis. And good luck, gentlemen, and let's have a good evening. I'd also like to introduce Stephen Slimovich. Stephen is a criminal lawyer. He's president of the Lord Reading Law Society and a prominent member of the League for Human Rights of B'nai Brith. And Stephen is going to moderate the questions tonight. I'm going to moderate the timing. I'm going to talk about the format for this evening very quickly before we start. The candidates may speak in the language of their preference. Candidates will be chosen at random order for 5 minutes of opening remarks each. Up to 9 questions, as time allows, will be posed by Steve Slimovich, with each candidate allowed 2 minutes to respond. Candidates will have 3 minutes each for closing remarks. This is not a debate, so there will be no cross-debating. And please show your respect for the candidates, their responses, and the moderators, as this is not a Donald Trump event. I'd also like the candidates to show respect for each other, no throwing of drinking glasses, chairs, or anything of that sort. This is a gentleman's evening. I'll be monitoring the time, gentlemen, and I'll be selecting the candidates, so please respect the clock, and I'll tap on the table as your time is ending for each of the sessions. Gentlemen, let's begin with the first question. Thank you. Okay, as I indicated, each of the candidates are going to have a 5-minute opening, and I chose them in alphabetical order. So, Sydney, you're the first one to come up and speak. You can speak right from your table.
Very good, thank you very much. Mesdames et messieurs, bonsoir. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I first want to thank B'nai Brith Canada for organizing this great initiative and thank the city of Côte Saint-Luc for hosting this event.
Sydney, could you move
Yep.
the mic a little closer to you? It's really hard to hear you.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Now it's better? C'est mieux?
Oui, absolument.
Avec plaisir. Attendez, on va juste... Okay, I'm going to start back. I first want to thank B'nai Brith Canada for organizing this great initiative and thank the city of Côte Saint-Luc for hosting this event and giving each of us the opportunity to present ourselves. For many years, I have longed the idea of getting involved in our municipality, yet the opportunity for me has never presented itself. I now believe it is the best time to do so. I'm a 16-year resident of Côte Saint-Luc, now living on the north side of Kildare. I'm married and have 3 beautiful children, aged 19, 15, and 12. My professional experience spans over 26 years. I have held various positions, all tied to community services. I work for Hillel Student, the YMYWHA, better known as the Y, Fédération CGA, Communauté Séfarade du Québec, and most recently, I have been appointed National Executive Director for Canadian Magen-David-Addo. My educational background is accounting, has greatly contributed to my work experience through continuous budget community planning. From hearing the names of my past and present employers, you can attest my passion for serving community and serving people. Today, I want to extend this knowledge and passion by serving the city of Côte Saint-Luc proudly, by representing Resident District 7. I'm convinced that my experience will benefit the city and its residents. Through my work, I learned the importance of listening and responding to member concerns. I experienced working with volunteers and professionals, and administered and respected budget despite spending constraints. Those skills and aptitude will be applied as councillor of District 7. Furthermore, my experience in leadership, my vision, my interpersonal skill and ability to work with others, and my capacity as someone who reaches out to others will make me the best candidate. As an elected councillor, I will continue promoting the upgrade of our recreational parks and facility. I will continue maintaining and enhancing the great services our city has to offer. I will continue promoting and marketing our city towards young family and finding ways to provide additional services and upgrade existing ones to the senior citizen of our city. I will work closely with public security, our police and fire department, and our security committee to handle the security and traffic issues often brought up by residents. With your support, the city will strongly benefit for the various attributes I have, and rest assured that the residents of District 7 will have continued support and representation from me. Thank you all again for coming and listening, and thank you in advance for your support. Your vote to my election matters. Thank you.
Our second candidate will be Mitch Kujawski.
Let me know if you can't hear me. My name is Mitch Kujawski. I'm a lifelong Côte Saint-Lucer, an accountant by profession, and I hope to bring the skills that I've acquired during my career to add value to council and step into the very large footsteps left by former District 7 councillor and current mayor, Mitchell Brownstein. Like I said, I am an accountant by profession, and I recently acted as official agent for former mayor, Anthony Housefather, which means that I did all the accounting and compliance for the federal election campaign. This was an exciting role, and it was a role that I relished and learned a lot from, and it really required me to excuse me, I lost my train of thought, to raise the standards that I set for myself when in my practice. Anthony Housefather set a very high bar and required me to be a perfectionist. I appreciate the trust that Anthony placed in me, and he is essentially the reason I'm sitting here today before you. It allowed me as well to work closely with several members of the current council, and sparked a deeper interest in me and how our city is run. For lack of a better term, I would call the last 2 years of my life the ultimate crash course in the inner workings of politics and in the city of Côte Saint-Luc. The other reason I'm sitting here today is, as a husband and father, it's my job to make sure that Côte Saint-Luc is always looking towards the future and continuing to focus on issues that affect young families. One of my priorities as councillor will be to ensure that our parks and streets are safe, that they get the upgrades they need, and to speak with my constituents about their ideas for programs and activities for families. Along the same lines of the utmost importance is ensuring that Côte Saint-Luc remains the top choice for a young family looking for the ideal place to raise their children. Having someone on council who uses these services as well, like myself and like my wife, will be an asset to the current council and adds value as well to that council. Families need a lot of things, but what they need most is for their loved ones to be close by, and whenever possible, keeping all generations of a family in Côte Saint-Luc is of the utmost importance. That means making sure our seniors have a wide range of programs and services available to them and are kept fully informed of those services. That means keeping lines of communication open at all times and making myself available to the senior community, which is going to be, again, one of my biggest priorities. I'm looking forward to taking your questions and discussing the issues of District 7 afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Mitch. Our third candidate, Lloyd Pedvis.
Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lloyd Pedvis. Having resided in Côte Saint-Luc for more than 40 years, I have witnessed the ever-continuing evolution of Côte Saint-Luc into a vibrant city that is the result of the vision, leadership, and dedication of the succession of Côte Saint-Luc mayors and city councilors, together with the support and hard work of all of those who work in the city. Being elected a Côte Saint-Luc councillor would give me the opportunity, through my determination and by listening carefully to what the residents of Côte Saint-Luc require, to contribute to the continued positive growth and development of our great city of Côte Saint-Luc, thereby ensuring that Côte Saint-Luc becomes an even better place to live in for all its citizens. After finishing university, I worked as a computer programmer and analyst for more than 12 years. In 1986, I started and operated a giftware manufacturing company for more than 20 years, which I sold in 2005. I then started my own software consulting business. In addition to developing strategic customized software for companies and individuals, I donate both my time and computer expertise to the Mount Sinai Auxiliary located in Côte Saint-Luc, and I am also a member of the board of directors of the Mount Sinai Auxiliary. I also volunteer at the Cummings Senior Center. If elected as a Côte Saint-Luc councillor, I will be able to use my business and computer expertise to the benefit of the city of Côte Saint-Luc. I have been going door to door in District 7 to introduce myself to everyone and to let everyone know that I am eager to speak to the residents and to research the issues that are most important to them, thus ensuring that I will do the best job possible. If elected, I will represent the concerns and interests of all residents of District 7 at City Hall. I have the intelligence, determination, and experience that will make me an effective advocate for my district's particular needs. Issues that are important to me are road safety, maintaining and improving the district parks so that the residents, young and old, can enjoy these beautiful green spaces. Work with council on ways to maintain the current level of services. That is why, if elected, I will work hard and do everything I can, together with our wonderful and dedicated new mayor and talented councillors, to make sure that Côte Saint-Luc continues to be a city that all its residents, young and old, can truly enjoy living in. Thank you. Merci.
Thank you, Lloyd. Finally, David Torchman.
I want to thank B'nai Brith as well for tonight's event. Thank you very much to the City Council as well. In 2010, there was an earthquake in Haiti. That earthquake devastated the country. Through various contacts, the UN found my CV and engaged me for a contract to go down to Haiti and work in the reconstruction of the country. I was engaged primarily to work with the government at the Public Works Department for the country in the identification of homes that were safe for the residents to move back into. It was a World Bank funded project, and in a 6-month period they had given us a target of evaluating 200,000 homes. In an 8-month period we evaluated 400,000 homes and facilitated the reintegration of over 200,000 people back into their homes. So that project, for that project I was the project manager, and for that I won the Project of the Year award by the UN. In my various projects, I ended up working for 2 years down in Haiti, in the various reconstruction projects, and in walking around the various areas, I got to meet many of the locals and many government employees, and they always shook my hand and bent their head a little bit, and it was a little bit of somewhat of a respectful bow, which I didn't quite understand until one day somebody said my father, and I realized the kippah is it's a Jewish symbol. And so I explained to them I was Jewish and not their priest. Prior to the UN, I had worked for 5 years as a director of public works and urban planning. I have lived in the city for 37 years and was engaged by the city in 2005. I grew with the city to become the director of not only public works, but of the engineering department and of the urban planning department. And I loved that job for 5 years. I left to fulfill this incredible mission down in the UN for the reconstruction of Haiti. Following that, I came back and I'm presently working for the Cree Nation government. I'm responsible for about $100 million worth of projects in the 9 Cree communities of northern Quebec. I work out of Montreal, but I'm responsible for the various infrastructure projects and growth of those communities. So in terms of infrastructure capacity, in terms of knowing how cities work, in terms of having worked for a city, having worked with councils and various levels of government, I believe I'm the best candidate, the most qualified one to work for the city, help the city in developing further infrastructure and correcting the infrastructure issues that we have. I understand as an engineer the traffic issues. There are serious traffic issues at Kildare and Cavendish. There are issues at Haywood and Cavendish. And there's also the Cavendish extension that I had worked on when I was an engineer at the city. So these are things that I can work on and understand very deeply. So I want to work with a different voice on council. So I can listen to the residents and voice the opinions of the residents publicly. So these are my capacities. As Director of Public Works, I had brought in certain jobs that were farmed out to contractors. For example, the garbage collection. I had brought that back in to the city, done by city employees. We save the city something in the order of $200,000 a year. I have that private sector thinking, but I understand how the public sector needs to work. And so mixing both of those makes me a great candidate, and I believe the best candidate for District 7 and for the city. A small thing, during the storms, any winter storm that we had, I would be there with the employees overnight, making sure that the job was done right, because I care. My kids, I have 3 wonderful children. They go to school in the area. They were always very upset at me that their school would not call a snow day, and I ensured that their streets were cleared prior to the school opening. So they didn't love me for that, but they do love me. So time's up. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. We'll start with the questions, and the format that we've chosen is I will read the question, and then I will ask each of the candidates to answer the question, but I'm not going to tell you who's answering it first and second and so forth. So our first question, what's your opinion on traffic calming around the 2 schools, speed bumps, the addition or removal of stop signs for other traffic and or other calming measures? Let's start off with David.
Something I dealt with multiple times. I was head of the traffic committee at the city, chaired by various councillors, but we dealt with traffic calming issues. It's one of the most important issues that we deal with. Residents always want a stop sign in front of the house. Stop signs are not always the solution, but there are traffic calming devices and road orientations that work. So every street, every issue is slightly different. Sometimes it's flower pots. We instituted, when I was the director of public works, those poles, the flexible poles in the streets. We put various flower pots in different areas. We even reworked the sidewalks on some corners to reduce the speed of vehicles at those intersections. The 2-lane Fleet turn onto Cavendish turn onto Fleet was a project that I had developed when I was the director. So every issue has its solution, and it needs to be looked at with a critical eye. But I believe there are values to different traffic calming devices.
Thank you, David. Lloyd?
This is a situation that has been brought up to me in the last couple of weeks while I've been visiting many of the residents. Excessive speed, people not stopping properly at stop signs, all of these have been concerns of the residents. Something that I see on my own streets, it's a major problem just not only in Côte Saint-Luc, but all cities, not only in Montreal, but all the countries. And there are many, as said, many different measures to restrict the flow of, not restrict the flow of traffic, but to slow down drivers in certain areas. Speed bumps are one, markers that narrow the lanes are another. There are some problems with these that have to do with emergency. It's been brought to my attention over the years when I complained about speeding that public security, the firemen, and ambulances do not like the speed bumps because it makes them slow down. They feel that every second that they lose getting to a fire, getting to an emergency is life-threatening. So there must be ways, and there are ways, that you can control the flow of the traffic, but you have to look at all of the requirements of not only the pedestrians, the citizens driving the cars, but also public security.
Thank you, Lloyd. Mitch?
I'll say a couple of things. Those of us with kids, obviously every single time my kids step out the door of my house, I have a fear of them stepping into the street and into the path of a vehicle. So obviously being a parent, it's always at the forefront of my mind. I think as a counselor, it's our job to act as conduits for our constituents. So it's important to just listen to what they have to say, and just to echo what Lloyd just said, at the doors I've heard similar stories about misplaced stop signs or misplaced speed bumps. So we just have to listen to the people in the district and the people of Côte Saint-Luc and do what is within our power to a certain extent to get the city perfect. And people are generally happy with the way the city's run and the traffic calming measures that are in place, but there's always ways to do it better. So it's important just to listen to the people and listen to, and use a common sense approach on what more we can do to keep our kids safe and keep other pedestrians safe in the city.
Thank you, Mitch. Sydney?
I think it's a security issue. I know that also I have also, it was brought to my attention, when I was doing door to door. Sometimes, at some street, maybe the stop is, we don't need to have it here, or we need to add another speed bump here because it's very, for the security of our kids during the summer, or they're outside playing outside, and people are turning right on this street, and sometimes it's a security issue. So for sure we need, I think at a certain point, exactly everybody has the same concern. We need to look at this issue. We need to listen to our resident, and to bring back to the issue on the table, and to be discussed with the public security and with the councillor. Thank you.
Thank you, Sydney. We'll move on to question number 2. Quelle est votre opinion sur un accès plus rapide hors de la ville le matin sur Haywood? What's your opinion on quicker access out of the city in the morning on Haywood? Mitch?
Well, that's a tough one, because I believe the current configuration is an issue. I've heard that from many people at doors in the area. But I think that what's most important is that whoever gets elected has that relationship with urban planning and with public works to be able to come to some consensus on what to do with that intersection. It really is a matter for urban planning on what we can do to improve that. But I mean, I've seen it myself during morning rush hour. Traffic backs up at that stop sign to exit Côte Saint-Luc on Haywood and Cavendish, and in afternoon rush hour it backs up to the stop sign coming across the overpass. So the best that we can do is develop those relationships with the people who are going to be responsible for doing that work. Again, listen to the constituents and come to a common sense consensus on how we can fix it. I am no expert in urban planning. I don't think, other than Mr. Fortman and us we'd all be remiss in offering any expertise in that matter. But we rely on, I believe, the city departments that are going to help with that.
Thank you, Mitch. Sydney?
It's it's an issue that was brought by also the resident, the issue of Haywood, especially people living on Haywood. So we had you hear 2 different situations. One is the traffic; they want to be out quickly in the morning. The other one, it's to see how we can deviate this traffic from there. They see Haywood like a highway. So I think it's an issue that has to be brought up to with the urban planning, and try to see how we can find solution. And like I said, to be that attentive, we need to be attentive to our residents. And for sure, there is. I know that since I'm doing door to door, I have a list of different points if I'm elected to bring and try to find some solution and to resolve at the best of our capacity. Thank you.
Thank you, Sydney. David?
Vous avez demandé la question en français d'abord, but from my view, I think
As you wish.
most people are either or. I think the solution is not an easy solution, but we need to look at the Cavendish extension. The traffic that is leaving Côte Saint-Luc, about 40% are accessing the highway to go east. Those are the last numbers that I had access to. So we need to, if we can look at the Cavendish extension, I think that would resolve a major part of the traffic issue. But primarily, as a short-term solution, I think we need to look at correcting the lights at Haywood and Carrot, which are on an older system and need to be upgraded. And I believe a secondary light may be the best solution at the Haywood intersection, that major intersection where everybody is now stopping, where the stop sign is. It's something that would give access to the residents leaving the buildings, but also allow for a flow of traffic, not increasing the speed, but increasing the flow. That way you're not stopped for too long. So the right solution has to be looked at in engineering terms, but I have solutions in mind that I would bring forward. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Lloyd?
Well, as we all know, there are very few exits to leave Côte Saint-Luc. This is a problem, and part of the problem is there's also a problem on Kildare, getting through to Cavendish. There's obviously a problem at Haywood. It's compounded by the problem that there's a school there, and the mothers and fathers are dropping their kids off and then leaving to go out by Haywood through Keller. But I think it's something that unfortunately, or fortunately, that has to be brought up to the engineering departments of Côte Saint-Luc, who are at this point the best people to evaluate it and make decisions on what can be done. We can bring it to their attention, and they are the ones that I think have to make these kind of decisions. They have the expertise to make these kind of decisions.
Thank you, Lloyd. Question number 3. Mayor Brownstein says his goal is to have his council members tackle new challenges and come up with new ideas. What new ideas would you like to present, both from a district and a general Côte Saint-Luc perspective, if you become councillor? Sydney.
Si je peux me permettre de répondre en français, je pense. Ok. En termes de nouvelles idées, c'est de voir comment on peut intégrer, je sais qu'on a quand même beaucoup de jeunes familles qui s'installent de plus en plus à Côte Saint-Luc, c'est de voir éventuellement comment on peut attirer encore beaucoup plus de familles en développant des programmes pour les enfants. Voir s'il y a la possibilité de développer d'autres programmes. Je sais qu'il y a des programmes qui sont déjà offerts dans différents centres, que ce soit au centre aquatique, que ce soit à l'Arena, de voir si on peut développer éventuellement d'autres programmes qui pourraient éventuellement permettre d'attirer ces jeunes familles, que ce soit au niveau même des adolescents, de voir, je sais qu'on a un programme d'adolescents, mais de voir de quelle façon on est capable de promouvoir. Je sais que j'ai beaucoup d'expérience dans tout ce qui est service communautaire. Comme je vous l'ai mentionné, j'ai travaillé au WAI, travaillé dans les centres communautaires, travaillé à la communauté séparate, dans tout ce qui était planification et développement de programmes et de services au niveau de toutes les tranches d'âge. Et je pense que ça serait quelque chose éventuellement qu'on pourrait développer, voir de quelle façon on pourrait aussi éventuellement développer un programme de bénévoles, peut-être essayer d'intégrer du bénévolat au niveau de la jeunesse. Ce serait éventuellement une façon aussi un renouveau. Et finalement, à un moment donné, c'est de voir un petit peu l'opportunité de ce qui est offert déjà à Côte Saint-Luc, comment on pourrait l'améliorer, comment on pourrait éventuellement rajouter d'autres services dans la communauté. Merci.
Merci, Sydney. David?
The statistics of Côte Saint-Luc indicate that the average age of Côte Saint-Luc is dropping, so we have a younger and younger population. Regardless, we still have a portion of our population of seniors. So I think an interesting mix needs to be integrated into what the city does. We need to attract more and young families to Côte Saint-Luc. I think it's been proven with the new development around the mall, but we need to make it even more interesting. Programs at the ACC need to be increased. I think there could be an increase in services at the pool. I remember when I was working at the Blossom Pool with Mitchell Brownstein, we had fantastic activities on a weekly basis. But we also need to work with our businesses. Some of our businesses in Côte Saint-Luc are suffering. So we need to find ideas to marry both the business angle of, like I mentioned, the businesses, whether it be at the mall or the garden center and stores on Macklin, Westminster. We just need to listen to them, meet with them, and meet with the residents on a regular basis, like we're doing with our door-to-door. I think we're hearing different ideas, and those are ideas that we would bring forward to the council.
Thank you, David. Lloyd?
Well, I would like to get involved in projects having to do also with young people in Côte Saint-Luc and with the elders. I believe that the program has been started to update all of our parks, but there are still a lot of parks in Côte Saint-Luc, especially in District 7, that need to be updated and modernized. The park, the Mitchell Brownstein Park, I've been told is rather small. There is a lot of land there that could maybe be incorporated and enlarge the park. I'd also like to see maybe another dog park. There are a lot of dogs in Côte Saint-Luc. We only have, from what I know, one dog park. It would be nice to see another dog park. And these are the kind of projects that I would like to get involved in.
Thank you, Lloyd. Mitch?
Can I use my bank time to talk for 10 minutes about this one?
No.
Okay. I would love to see something that involved seniors and young families. I think we're all kind of echoing the same thing, that we want to attract young families to Côte Saint-Luc, but at the same time we have a large senior community. So you know, it's hard, but we've got to talk to the constituents. We've got to work with council to find ideas that kind of merge those two things. I would love to see a large-scale renovation. I know we're doing a renovation to Trudeau Park, but I would love to see things moved into Trudeau Park that were educational, that engaged kids and involved them with the senior community to some extent. I did like hearing what Mayor Brownstein said in the day he took office about the possibility of a playhouse down the road. Like the stage that we're on right now is the venue for Côte Saint-Luc Dramatic Society plays. I think they hope to build the audience for those plays to perhaps down the road, creating an independent playhouse that can be revenue positive, that will attract people not only from Côte Saint-Luc, but from other cities or other boroughs of Montreal. That would attract not only young families, it would attract seniors, it would attract, just the next play is going to be, I don't know if it's spoiler alert, but Florida is going to be a senior play, a play with all senior cast. So, you know, I would love to see an initiative like that take place. And I'm just full of ideas, but I think that's for a later time, because like I said, I could go on for a long time ago. So.
Thank you, Mitch. We'll move on to question 4, which is a question about access to facilities. Would your priority be adding a second arena, building a new 400+ seat auditorium to be used for special events, concerts, and theater, or some other project in the event that infrastructure monies become available? Lloyd?
Well, I would love to see, I know there are a lot of people have told me they would love to see another arena, be it an inside arena or an outside rink. I know that they have a rink in the back that could be modernized and be used as a second rink. It would definitely generate revenue. I know that there is a list of hockey groups that are looking for arena space and arena time, and this would be a great asset for Côte Saint-Luc and would obviously generate revenue. Plus it would be there for the young kids to learn hockey and to play hockey. And that would be definitely an area that I'd be very interested in getting involved in.
Thank you, Lloyd. Mitch?
It's a difficult question to answer, given that we don't know anything about the cost, but all things being equal, I would love to see an auditorium, like I mentioned, that could be used for a playhouse, for events that would attract people to Côte Saint-Luc from outside Côte Saint-Luc that would perhaps make them move to Côte Saint-Luc and move their young family into Côte Saint-Luc from wherever they live, from outside the city. But that being said, I think it would be important to sit down and do a proper analysis on how much revenue you can generate, the costs of each project. I have heard from residents that a second arena is of interest. Apparently it's extremely difficult to get ice hours at Simon Moscovich, so obviously there is room for another arena and room to add more hours to the city's abilities to take on events. Yeah, I mean, all great ideas, but it'll take analysis, and we'll have to think it through before we make a decision on that.
Thank you, Mitch. David?
Without a question, my immediate answer is a new arena. Our existing arena was built in 1967. It is so highly used that there's teams that come in the middle of the day to get their ice time. The younger population, the population that would access our facilities, have been requesting, and this is Côte Saint-Luc wide, it's not only a district issue, but are requesting a second arena, and I'm hearing that from my various contacts. But a project like that, we can look at projects like that or the arena in a private-public partnership scheme that would benefit the city and benefit the residents primarily, benefit the city, but also costs would be offset by the private portion where they would rent out to other organizations. So we would ensure that we would have the ice time, increased ice time for our residents, but not have the burden of the tax burden of the operations element. So there's a good mix that needs to be found.
Thank you, David. Sydney?
I think if we have the funding available, I think at the end of the day, this is what we hear, and we have kids also. It's the arena. I think we need somewhere. It's already like the building was built for the last decade, and need to have a major renovation, and to see if there is a way maybe to expand and have maybe this. I don't know if the same area, see if we can have a second arena in the same complex like they have sometimes in other city, or to see how we can try to relieve si on est capable vraiment de rénover et puis de retransformer un petit peu cette arena de poisson, parce qu'elle puisse être beaucoup plus attrayante pour nos résidents. Merci.
Thank you, Sydney. Question number 5. Cavendish Extension has been a hotly discussed issue for many years. What is your opinion on the proposed extension? Mitch?
I think everyone in Côte Saint-Luc wants the Cavendish extension, save for several residents on Wallenberg, who will experience a higher volume of traffic. There is, though, only so much a municipal councillor can do, short of joining in with the current council and showing consensus on the matter that we are all in favor of it. That being said, at this point, it does appear to be out of the hands of the municipality and municipalities in general, that it's been kind of handed off to the province to make the final decision. We're waiting, I know, for the agglomeration to put the $44 million back into their capital works budget. So that'll be the municipal portion of it. But ultimately, the decision now lies with the province of Quebec. So all we can do is show consensus on the matter. Current council, with consensus, will show strength and hopefully push it through. I know 99% of people who I've spoken with at the doors are in favor of it. We know that it'll alleviate traffic on Fleet. We know that it'll give us access to Saint Laurent, or Ville Saint Laurent, and to Carrie. It really is just a win-win-win for everyone. So, yeah, good luck to us.
Thank you, Mitch. Sydney?
I think it's a very hot topic for many years, if not a decade. I know I had the different feedback from residents. you find some residents who are pro to open, you have other residents who are more reticent to open Cavendish. I think at a certain point, and I know that that there is a lot of different partner in this or people in this discussion that we know. But at a certain point, what I found when talking with people, it's people are very divided on the opening of Cavendish Mall. They're afraid that Cavendish will become a highway, and this is something that at a certain point need to be addressed to the whole resident of Côte Saint-Luc, and even maybe to come up with a question to like a referendum to the people, and ask them if at the end of the day they want Cavendish to be open. This is the feedback that I got when I spoke with the residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Sydney. David?
I think the 30 years plus that we've been waiting for the Cavendish extension needs to come to an end. We need the Cavendish extension for so many reasons, if nothing else but for security. We have only 2 exits out of this sector of Côte Saint-Luc, and that's the Cavendish underpass and the Westminster underpass. And my 37 years as a resident here, both have been flooded on 2 occasions. So there are serious security issues. One of my projects was the upgrading of the pump station at the Cavendish underpass to relieve that emergency issue. But nonetheless, it remains that there's only 2 exits. I think properly done, the Cavendish extension would relieve an enormous amount of traffic off of Haywood, off of Cavendish, and off of Fleet. We would divert a lot of Côte Saint-Luc's traffic to the Décarie area through a Royal Mount exit. So it wouldn't be a direct link to Saint Laurent. I think that would be an error. I think the proper design, and I spoke to the engineer who works at the City of Montreal, who was my former boss when I was a student here at the City of Côte Saint-Luc. I worked in the engineering department as a student. The plans are ready, and with the proper funding, we would get this off the ground. I presently, with my present job, negotiate with the federal and provincial governments on mega projects. So I know what it's like meeting with them and presenting to them. It just takes constant pressure. We can't let up that pressure. And even though we're a municipality, we're an important municipality. And for security reasons, as well as for environmental reasons, we need this extension. And done properly, it'll be a huge benefit to our residents.
Thank you, David. Lloyd?
I also agree that the Cavendish extension is long overdue. It needs to be done. I have concerns about the traffic. I think if it does go ahead, there has to be some rules and regulations of the type of traffic that would be allowed on Cavendish, limiting certain types of vehicles being large trucks, other types of vehicles that would be detrimental to the traffic on Cavendish. That said, we definitely need to have this extension. We need to control the traffic, but there's also another issue which has already been mentioned of security. We only have 2 exits. In the last ice storm, it was a major concern. If we ever had a problem with the railroad or the rail lines, if there was ever a major accident, we did have a major problem here. We need to have this extension done. We need to have it properly done. We need to install rules to control the traffic.
Thank you, Lloyd. We'll move on to question number 6. Quelle est votre position sur la réduction des heures de bibliothèque et est-ce que votre préférence est de rétablir les heures tout en réduisant d'autres services pendant la journée dans la bibliothèque ou maintenir du statu quo? Sydney?
C'est vraiment, je pense que ça serait important. Je sais que la réduction des heures touche beaucoup nos étudiants. Je pense que ça serait intéressant de revoir un peu la possibilité, vraiment de revoir ou d'augmenter les heures de la bibliothèque. C'est sûr, de trouver des façons, je pense qu'il y a des façons de ne pas pénaliser d'autres programmes. Mais je pense que c'est important. Je sais qu'en ce moment, il y a beaucoup de réactions négatives par rapport aux coupures des heures de la bibliothèque. que ce soit au niveau de jeunes, que ce soit au niveau de personnes de plus âgées. Vraiment, c'est une question qui a été ramenée à plusieurs reprises. Alors je pense qu'à un moment donné, il va falloir, et je pense que notre maire aussi l'a mentionné dans un de ses, dans une de ses entrevues, comme quoi il allait aussi revoir un petit peu les heures d'ouverture des bibliothèques, et c'est un peu ce qui ressort. Et je crois que c'est important, il y a une très belle bibliothèque ici à Côte Saint-Luc. Je pense que c'est quand même, le joyau de Côte Saint-Luc, et je pense que c'est important vraiment de revoir un petit peu les heures d'ouverture des bibliothèques sans pénaliser nos programmes qui sont offerts à nos résidents. Merci.
Thank you, Sydney. I just realized that I didn't read the question in English also. What is your position on the reduction of library hours, and would your preference be to reinstate hours while cutting other services during the day in the library, or maintaining status quo? Lloyd.
This is a very touchy situation in Côte Saint-Luc. The hours were reduced to save money, $125,000 to be exact. I know the council did a survey on the hours. They monitored the flow of people between the hours of 6 and 10 on Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night, and they concluded that based on the limited access, very limited access, that it was in the best interest of all of Côte Saint-Luc to limit the hours. I know there have been people who've been okay with it. There have also been a lot of people who've been very upset with it. I believe that Côte Saint-Luc has to control their budget, has to look for ways to save money. I don't totally disagree with what they have done. I think it was a good measure based on the statistics and the survey they took. Based on the complaints that they've now had, maybe it should be revisited. Maybe some changes could be made to extend the hours, maybe not till 10 o'clock, but possibly maybe add an extra hour here or there to, I don't know, it'd be Friday night or Saturday night or Sunday night or all nights. But I know that before the internet, I was in the library constantly, doing research, looking for books, getting ideas for my business, reading up on technical information for computers, and so on. And I love the library. It's a great place, and I think that the whole situation has to be relooked at.
Thank you, Lloyd. David?
Avec tout le respect au Conseil, je pense que c'était une erreur monumentale de fermer la bibliothèque pendant, spécialement le dimanche. Étant étudiant dans ma jeunesse, le dimanche soir, c'était les heures où on allait étudier. Sunday night was the study night. That's where we went to finish our projects, to study for our weekly exams. The library was the crown jewel, and should still be the crown jewel of the city of Côte Saint-Luc. The young students use it, the elderly use it. It's maybe the numbers didn't quite say what the council had hoped for, and that was the reason for the decision to close the hours. I would revisit the decision with the council. I think there are inefficiencies in other departments that should be looked at, and through correcting those inefficiencies, we would find the funds necessary to open up the library again and keep it open till 10 o'clock, because that's when the students, that's when the population would use it. We would go there as groups and study. It was a prime place. I think studying at the ACC, as was offered to me as a response in question period, is not a proper response. Students are not going to go to the ACC to study. I think we need to revisit that decision, and I think we need to open the library again.
Thank you, David. Mitch?
The bottom line is we have to listen to our constituents. So if there are enough voices out there who do believe that there was a mistake made, but that the library should be open later, then we have to listen to them. However, that being said, council has to balance the budget, so they have to find ways to do that. There are possibilities, that are perhaps middle grounds. It's worth looking at whether or not the library could be open later during peak months, for example. And there are months during the year where students, whether it's high school or older than high school, are looking for places to study, let's say midterms. It's worth looking at if the library could be open a little bit later during the months of April or November and December. It really is just a matter of listening to the people, consulting with them, and finding solutions that work while balancing the budget. And it's a fine line to walk, and the person who gets elected will have to walk it.
Thank you, Mitch. Excuse me. What is your position on the question of allowing parking or not in certain areas to improve the flow of traffic? David?
Sorry, can you clarify the question? You say parking in general? Or?
What is your position as to allowing parking in certain areas to improve the flow of traffic?
I believe if you're referring to allowing parking on certain sides of the street, I'm not sure I understand the question fully. But parking certainly reduces the speed of traffic by reducing the width of the overall street. There's issues on Cavendish. Sometimes people park illegally in the morning hours, and that obviously affects traffic in a negative way. But on side streets, when there is parking on both sides, the traffic is reduced, but I think it may even cause further issues in the sense that the visibility is reduced. So children that are trying to cross or crossing unexpectedly, there'll be an issue regarding visibility. So I think on some of the streets where the streets are too narrow, we need to be cautious of allowing those types of situations. So it's really a case by case. We need to look at it at the street level, and not there's no general rule for something like that.
Thank you, David. Mitch?
Can you repeat the question, please? It sounds like an oxymoron.
I hope it's not. What is your position as to allowing parking in certain areas to improve the flow of traffic?
To improve the flow of traffic. Raise your hand if you're confused by the question. The reason I'm confused, I think, is because allowing parking to improve the flow of traffic.
Well, so not allowing.
Not allowing parking to.
Yes.
Well, the first thing that popped into my mind is an issue that I've experienced and my wife has experienced on Kildare eastbound approaching Cavendish from the west, which is to allow, or supposedly allow, vehicles 3 days a week to park in the right-hand turn lane to turn onto southbound Cavendish. What that does is it pushes cars out of the right-hand turn lane into the center lane, backing up traffic for cars approaching to drop off kids at Bialik and to turn onto Cavendish and so forth. So it's something that should be looked at on a case-by-case basis to make sure that it does make sense, that the no parking versus parking makes sense based on the hour of day and based on the flow in the morning. So I think that's what we're getting at from the question. I hope I answered it properly.
Thank you, Mitch. Lloyd?
Well, I think that we have three main streets that lead out to Cavendish or that lead out to Westminster. There being Kildare, Mackle, and Haywood, Parkhaven, that goes, Haywood goes to Guelph, goes to Parkhaven, goes over. And I think that we have a lot of congestion in the morning and in the afternoons when people are coming home and leaving in the morning to go to work. And I think that we need to restrict the parking in the right-hand lane on those streets, mainly those streets, during peak hours of rush hours, be it in the morning or the afternoon, to allow easier access for vehicles to get out of Côte Saint-Luc and get on their way to work, to school, wherever they're going.
Thank you, Lloyd. Sydney?
I think the question is a non-issue. I think this is something that's to be discussed with public security and also with urban planning to see because it's very difficult to respond to this kind of question if we don't have more precision about which street are we talking about. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to question number 8. What is your opinion on renovations and maintenance of local parks? Lloyd?
Well, this has been part of my campaign. I feel that the parks are an area where our children go, but also our seniors go. It's a place for them to go and enjoy, to relax. And I know that over the last quite many years that there has been a major project in Côte Saint-Luc to upgrade all of the parks. They've started, the Schuster Park was upgraded. This year they're going to do the Trudeau Park. But I think there are a lot of parks in Côte Saint-Luc, and they all should eventually be updated, either with new equipment, they should be enlarged. I think this is very important for all of the residents, young and old, in Côte Saint-Luc.
Thank you, Lloyd. Sydney?
Okay. On peut voir, je pense que c'est important de continuer à rénover nos parcs. Je crois qu'on peut voir déjà dans Côte Saint-Luc, il y a quand même, et je crois que c'est prévu aussi dans les budgets de la ville, de continuer régulièrement à chaque année et de rénover nos parcs. C'est vrai qu'on a quand même plusieurs parcs qui ont été déjà rénovés. Il y a d'autres parcs qui ont besoin d'être rénovés. Je pense que c'est important de continuer dans cette direction. Et c'est une des façons aussi, je pense, d'attirer comme ça nos jeunes familles. Et aussi, c'est bénéfique aussi à toute la population. Merci.
Thank you, Sydney. David?
I think the other jewel of Côte Saint-Luc are parks, and I think that is one of the key elements in attracting young families to Côte Saint-Luc. People constantly talk about the Schuster Park now and how beautiful it is, and I think the work that was done there was tremendous. I think it needs to continue. I think we need to invest in many of our parks. The park that's in our district, Mitchell Brownstein Park, needs a major upgrade. I think we could see water playground parks in Brownstein Park. I think we need to continue the upgrading of parks, even if we slow down the speed at which we do all of the parks, but we do one park at a time and we do it properly. I upgraded as part when I was the director here, 4 major parks. And it's the way to go. I think the lifespan of a park is limited, and that's a good thing because it means it's highly used. So we need to continue doing that. It will be for the benefit of the growth of Côte Saint-Luc.
Thank you, David. Mitch?
Yeah, this is near and dear to me as well with 2 young kids. The renovations that Côte Saint-Luc has done in the park to date have been great. Schuster Park is a favorite of my family's. I would love to see the parks in District 7 upgraded in a similar fashion to Schuster Park, and I will do my best and make my best case as that District 7 councillor to try and prioritize the updates to 3 parks that have not received recent updates. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mitch. Our final question. What is your opinion on snow removal and street cleaning? Mitch?
I don't think snow removal and street cleaning needs any improvements. I think that Côte Saint-Luc's residents, District 7 residents, are very happy with that service level. If there are issues that come up in the future, I hope to be a sounding board for those issues. I hope that my constituents feel comfortable in getting in touch with me with any problems they experience. But from what I'm hearing, everyone is very happy with those services this time.
Thank you, Mitch. David?
I'm hearing, unfortunately, very different voices in my tour of the district. I think we need to upgrade our snow clearing. There's issues in the speed at which it's being done. Some of it is being done by contractors, some of it is being done by our local staff. I think we've missed a couple of opportunities with the snowfalls When I was the director of public works, I would ensure that the night of the snowfall, we'd have staff out as the snow started to not lose the storm. And that needs to come back. So we need to improve that, and we also need to put the staff and equipment necessary on the spring cleanup. I think spring is here now. We're starting to see all of the dirt and grime that winter leaves behind, and we need to put the staff necessary with the equipment needed on the streets as quickly as possible, and make sure that our Côte Saint-Luc is clean like it used to be.
Thank you, David. Sydney?
I think some improvement has to be done. On Kildare, what I find it's like the last street that usually they're gonna clean one side, the other one is gonna be it's gonna be like the last one that has to be clean. I think this is something that has to be looked at. I'm sure that we have, we cannot say that we don't have the service. The service is here, but I imagine that somewhere we need to review and try to see how it can be done faster and efficient for our residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Sydney. Lloyd?
Well, my opinion is that the snow removal in Côte Saint-Luc is actually very good. I have friends of mine who come from other areas, be it Westmount, TMR, or any of the other areas, and they all comment how great our snow removal is compared to the areas that they live in. That doesn't mean that we can't look at improvements. There's always ways to increase to minimize the delay for the snow removal. Snow removal is probably one of the most expensive part of the budget of Côte Saint-Luc. It uses a lot of resources. It takes a lot of money to clean the snow, to remove it, to dump it. But like everything else, definitely we can always, as council, if I'm an elected council, to look at ways to improve all our services in Côte Saint-Luc, be it snow removal, be it garbage collection, be it any of the other services that we get from Côte Saint-Luc.
Thank you, Lloyd. We'll now move on to the time for the closing remarks. Each candidate will have a total of 3 minutes, and we will proceed with the reverse order from the opening statements. So, David.
Thank you again to B'nai Brith for hosting this event, and I also want to voice my respect for the mayor and council. It's not an easy job. I've sat many nights with them through council meetings and in-camera meetings. It's not an easy job, but so I do want to extend my respect for the work that they do. And I want to be part of that group. I want to make Côte Saint-Luc what it used to be. I want to bring back the services. I don't want to compare us in terms of snow clearing to Montreal. I want to be the city that is always the first to be clean, like it used to be. We had, as the foreman used to tell me, we had black asphalt all throughout winter. We never had a white road. The crown jewels of Côte Saint-Luc were its library. I want to bring that back. Our parks, we have a tremendous amount of parks. It takes a lot of money to maintain them. It takes a lot of money to upgrade them. But it's an important element to Côte Saint-Luc and the residents. The new ACC, the community center, I think it's a great center. I think there are things that could be done there to improve the services for residents and increase services to residents. I want to bring in new innovative ideas. I brought in private sector thinking to Côte Saint-Luc as a director. I want to do that again as your counselor. I think I'm the best qualified. I understand the issues. I've lived in Côte Saint-Luc for 37 years. I have 3 beautiful children that go to school in the district, and I have a fiance who's sitting right here. Our wedding is the week after the election, so it'd be a beautiful wedding gift. I'm looking forward to serving the residents and of this district, but the residents of Côte Saint-Luc, and I really would work extremely hard for all of the residents. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Lloyd?
If elected, I will work hard to represent the concerns and interests of District 7 residents at City Hall. In fact, I put my personal phone number and email address on my campaign literature, and I encourage the residents not to hesitate to contact me anytime, either during the campaign or after the elections, if I am elected, because I care about the needs of the citizens of Côte Saint-Luc. My first goal is to represent all the residents of District 7 and to provide a bridge between them, City Council, and all the services that are offered by Council of Côte Saint-Luc. Be it issues with garbage collection or snow removal, I will respond to our residents' needs and concerns. I will represent all of the district's residents for the betterment of the city. I am running for council seat because I sincerely want to contribute to the positive development of Côte Saint-Luc. I have the intelligence, determination, and experience that will make me an effective advocate for my district's particular needs. If I am elected, I look forward to working with our new mayor and the other city councilors to make our great city of Côte Saint-Luc even better. Thank you.
Thank you, Lloyd. Mitch?
First of all, thank you all for coming, and thank you for our current council for being here, and our mayor, and thank you to B'nai Brith for hosting the event. It was a nice opportunity for, I think, all of us to get to speak about what we'll bring to the table as councillors, and so thanks for that. I will be the councillor who can hit the ground running since we're in the middle of a term. I've built those relationships with the current council and working with them on their House Values campaign as well. I believe I missed, if my count is right, 1 or 2 council meetings over the last couple of years, so I'm really up to date on the issues and they understand what's going on in the city. I plan on staying engaged with my constituents, being reachable and approachable. I too put my personal cell phone number and my email address on my brochures, and I meant it when I said at the doors that people can call me anytime, any day, short of during dinner time or bath time, of course. Not mine, my kids, dinner time or bath time. Continuing to make sure our city's operations continue to churn along because people are happy with Côte Saint-Luc. People like the way the city is being run. That's what people are telling me at the doors. So I'm the person who can step into the footsteps of former councilor and current mayor Mitchell Brownstein and keep people happy with the way things are going. I would say make Côte Saint-Luc great again, but I won't do it because it's probably going to be frowned upon. And plus it's never stopped being great. So thank you all again for coming, and
Thank you, Mitch. Sydney?
Je pense qu'avec toute mon expérience communautaire, je pourrais apporter vraiment cette expérience au service de la ville de Côte Saint-Luc. Comme je l'ai mentionné au début, ça fait plus de 26 ans que je travaille avec le public. Alors j'ai travaillé dans la planification de programmes, réalisation de programmes, les budgets. Et c'est quelque chose, et j'ai quand même de très bonnes connaissances, et gérer les équipes, ressources humaines. Et je pense que c'est quelque chose que j'ai fait tout au long de mon parcours, et on peut voir aussi cette progression durant mon parcours, c'est ce qui m'a permis d'être aujourd'hui où je suis en termes de mes responsabilités professionnelles. Again, thank you for listening through this. I hope that my message was indeed well received by you. I reiterate that my primary objective is being attentive to residents' concerns and responding to their requests. I intend on being and remaining accessible at all times. I intend on working closely with the city's various departments, be it the finance, security, public works, urban development, all headed by a great team of professionals whom to date have done an outstanding job. However, we can always improve and better our community, and that is what I plan on doing. But to accomplish this, I need your support on April 3rd and April 10th. Please vote Sydney Benizri. Thank you.
Thank you, Sydney. I'll turn the mic over to Harvey for some closing remarks.
Well, thank you, Steve, for being an excellent moderator, and thank you to the candidates for your excellent responses to some difficult questions. I think it was very informative, and we all learned a lot. And to the audience, thank you for being attentive. And the important thing is to exercise your right to get out to vote. So make sure that you and your friends and your neighbors and your families get out to vote, and let's have a great, great, great turnout for this very important district of ours in the election. And certainly good luck to all of the candidates, and I know you've been campaigning very, very hard. When they came to my apartment building, I hid in the den and told my wife to answer the door. I didn't want them to see me, and I didn't want to hear them until tonight. B'nai Brith are soon going to release our annual audit of anti-Semitic incidents from across Canada. And we have handed out some fridge magnets on your chairs. And it has our B'nai Brith 24-hour anti-hate hotline. And please use it to report in total confidence any incidents of hate graffiti, harassment, anti-Semitism of any sort. And let's keep our community safe. Thank you very much, everybody.